This is a no-start situation with a Techumseh 15.5 horsepower engine. The situation with this engine is that it will not start unless I put some gas into the carburetor or spray it with starting fluid or brake cleaner. Just a small squirt, that's all it takes. This carburetor was taken apart and cleaned out twice. It's a simple carburetor to work on. The gas line is replaced. This is new. Shutoff valve is new. Fuel filter is new. Gas tank was emptied and cleaned out. No blockage in there. The valves were adjusted. And here's the catch. When this is running, it runs fine without any problem. The problem is getting it started. I even adjusted the choke, which it was right to begin with. I put this out on a blog and someone suggested that if the hose is a little too long and it loops down too much, that might be the problem. He said someone he knew, or his dad or somebody had one, they put a new line on and they made it just a little too long, and it was just enough to keep that carb from working. Now I don't know if this is going to correct it, because I have another Trash to Treasure mower I picked up, and it starts with the same setup as this, the same carburetor, and the hose is just as long. But I'm going to give it a shot anyway because I'm at a loss. So what I'm going to do is shorten this fuel line and see if that makes a difference. I'll be back as soon as I put the shorter gas line in. I've shortened this line so it's not drooping as far down as it was before. This is going to work now. Okay, the battery's on the weak side. But even with a weak battery, I should get a little something. Let's put that choke in a little. I'm going to try with the jumper and see if we get any progress with that. Okay, I have the jumper connected. Let's see if this will make a difference. Let's choke all the way out. All right, it's not working with the jumper either. Now another suggestion that was made to me was to adjust the valves. This was tapping somewhat, and I can't get the right valve adjustment on this. I put it out there. A few people replied to me with different clearances. One was 004 for the intake, and the exhaust I get all different numbers. Just recently somebody replied to me and they said I should use 004 for the intake, 004 for the exhaust. I'm not sure if that's right. You heard the engine running in the beginning of this video. It's running fine, it's not tapping, and it's running smooth. Just can't get it to start without a shot of something, whether it's gas, starting fluid, or even brake fluid works well with this. But I'm going to go back to the valves. I'm going to adjust that exhaust valve to 004 and see if that makes a difference. I'm going to take this valve cover off and I'll show you how I adjust those valves. Alright, I have this valve cover off, and when you do take it off, if you never did this before, have a rag underneath or something to catch the oil, because some oil will drip out. Now what I also did, I'm on a little bit of a hill here. I put the tractor up on these ramps to have it pitched back a little bit. It keeps that extra oil from coming out. Now we want to get this to top dead center. I'm going to have Johnny, my cameraman, take over. John, just hold us right over here, just like that, okay? Okay. We want to get this to top dead center. So the deck is off on this. I could turn the engine by turning the wheel underneath. You seeing this? Yes. By turning it underneath. Okay, you can see the valves. Are these valves? Could you see this? Is that showing up? Yes. Okay. You can see the valves going up and down, and you can see this extension going up and down. Now we're at the bottom. Okay, that's bottom dead center. Now the valve is closing. You don't want to get this stuck in there, so watch where it is. Come up nice and easy. Okay, now we're going down. Just want to make sure I get this right. You can see this valve moving?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, that valve's opening up. That valve's closing. And this valve's opening up. Now top dead center is just right about there. Now we can check the clearances. Now what happened there? Let's see. That got tight. Alright, now we can check the clearances. I'm going to adjust both of these to 004. Come over to the side, John. Just a little bit here. Alright, that feels...
How you got that, Greg?
Okay, this one feels good, but this one feels just a little too tight. Okay, this shifted since we adjusted them, because we adjusted this just a while back. Are you showing this, John?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, wait, there we go. Oh, this feels right. You want that drag on it, just a little bit of drag. This one might be a little loose. Okay. Now on the Briggs, you'll have to use a torque screw and a wrench. This one you have to use 2 wrenches. This is a Techumseh. If you have a thin wrench, don't shake it. If you have a thin wrench, you want to put the thin one in the back. Now this wrench here, I ground this down, not for this job, but in a previous video, links up above, where I had to put a starter solenoid into a carburetor. There wasn't much room, so I ground this down just for that. So if you have a set of old wrenches, you might want to keep them around to refabricate them for special needs. So here we go. That's tight. I don't know why it moved. Let's see. Okay, we loosened that up. Now this is the lock. This is what locks it into place, and this one here makes your adjustment. Come on this side, Jen, for a minute. Are you seeing in that crack?
Yes.
Right in there?
Yes.
Because you see that opening and closing? This is what's making your adjustment. Okay, back it up a little, Jen. You want to open it up? Let's get this in there. We want it just snug. Okay, let's see if we can keep it there when we tighten it up. When you tighten these up, sometimes they'll move, and you might have to do this a couple of times. My hand's getting in the way, let me know. You might have to do this a couple of times to get it right.
Hand in the way.
That moved. Let's see. Sometimes you get it right off the bat. Okay, we did good. And other times you might have to play with it a few times. Not something you do all the time. So it takes a little getting used to. Just want to make sure I got it good and snug. I gotta put the fat one in the...
Your hand.
I know. It's gotta be in the way for a minute. Okay, just making sure it's snug now. Yeah, that's not going anywhere. Oh, felt it move. Time. Yeah, well, snugging it up, I moved it out. To be a cameraman, you gotta stand still, John. I think that should do it. Yeah, it's a little snug. Should work. Okay, this one was okay. I'm gonna fire it up and see what happens. Okay, that's it. Okay, I came back to this. With the setting of these valves, now it wouldn't start at all. I went online and I checked, and an engine that was 1 digit off from this had valve settings of 005 and 010. So I came back to readjust this. Oh, and by the way, I even changed the spark plug. It was firing, but just in case it was missing. When I started tightening this exhaust valve on the bottom, I noticed as I was turning this, could you see that back there? The nut back here was loose. So I think that might have been part of the problem. With this nut being loose, these valves were coming out of adjustment. So to tighten that, I either had to bend the wrench to get back there, but instead of doing that, I just held it with one wrench and loosened this adjusting nut with the other, and I'm going to get a deep socket if I can't tighten it with a regular wrench. Once I tighten this up and get the valve setting, we'll try starting it again. I adjusted the valves again. The intake I went to 005 and the exhaust I went to 009. It still didn't start. Came over here. This is another yard machine I picked up. As a matter of fact, it's going to be my first in the series of Trash or Treasure, a new series I'm starting. And what I did is take the carburetor off this one. You can see it's out already. Different horsepower, same type of carburetor. Pull that carburetor out, and I mounted it onto this one. Now there is a difference. This carburetor, the original, has the solenoid, anti-kickback solenoid on it. This one doesn't. And I believe this might have been an aftermarket carburetor. When I pulled it off the other yardsman, these screws had Loctite on them. So everything else looks to be the same. This one doesn't have a number on it. This has a number that I wrote down, so if it works, I'm going to buy a pair of these. And what else? Oh, when I was taking this carburetor off the other machine, the gasket ripped. This gasket right here. And what I did was make a gasket out of a little cardboard box. Now we'll give it a try. Choke up. Throttle up. This battery's weak on this tractor. You can see by the hesitation. Plus, a couple things I noticed. When I was revving it up and down, it was missing a little bit. That could be from air being sucked through, where I have that homemade gasket. That could be one issue. There's something else on here. I had the exhaust valve set at 006. The engine seemed a little quieter, so that's going to have to be readjusted again. I have to find the right specs for that. But it starts now. It ran smoother with the old carburetor, but it starts with this carburetor. Let's give it one more try. Oh. Brought the throttle down a little. Oh, that's not good. That's what it was doing before. Does it need choke? saw smoke coming out. That was from a little oil dripping from this valve cover. So all along, the issue was the carburetor. And I took this apart, this original carburetor apart. I cleaned it. I put a new O-ring on the inside. Everything looked fine on it. And what was really throwing me is that with this carburetor, it was running fine. It just wouldn't start without priming it. I don't get it. Any suggestions or comments? Post them down below. So I'm gonna wait for the new carburetor to come in. It'll have a new gasket with it. I get a new gasket for this valve cover. I'm gonna readjust that exhaust valve because it's giving a little too much static on the startup. So I have the exhaust valve to adjust, valve gasket, new carb, and put this back together and she'll be ready to go. If you have any questions, comments, post them down below. If you enjoyed this video, found it useful, give it a like, pass it along to someone else who may be able to use it. And I keep mentioning at the end of the videos, I have an Amazon affiliate link. If you should buy this carburetor or anything else going through my link, I get a small commission on some of the products that you buy, not on all of them, but a good part of them. I'll get a small commission and it helps me with financing this channel, keeping it going. And if you don't have Amazon Prime, I also have a link down below where you could try Amazon Prime for 30 days for free. After 30 days, if you don't cancel it out, they will charge you the monthly fee. But you could try it up to 30 days. If you're not going to use it afterwards, cancel before the 30 days and you got 30-day use. This is where you get 2-day delivery on most of these items. And it doesn't matter the dollar amount that you spend. Normally you would have to spend $35 to get a free delivery. You could buy something for $10, and as long as it's part of that Amazon Prime, you'll get the delivery at no charge. And if you have any videos that you would like to see in the future, let me know and I'll try to work on that. I have a lot of work going on. I have tractors all over the place that I have to get going. And for now, that's a wrap. Until next time, stay safe.